My name is Mark Munger. I had the privilege of serving as a Peace Corps teacher in Ilam Jila in Mechianchal during 1966 and 67, and have visited many times to see my students and friends. The path of development assistance in Nepal has perhaps been uneven. What can the people and government of Nepal expect of donors to improve development assistance, and what may donors expect of the people and government of Nepal to improve development assistance?
So your name again, sir, was?
Mark Munger.
Mark Munger, who has been previously a Peace Corps worker in Nepal. And I can't interpret that for anybody. So, Prime Minister.
Exactly, I couldn't catch his. My attention was that he was working in Eastern Nepal.
Yeah, he's a Peace Corps worker, and his question essentially was, how do we improve the circumstances in the country for development assistance projects into the future? Am I right, sir?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Good. There you go.
I would like to thank the US government, first of all, for MCC project. Very attractive project. And before I left Nepal this time, Cabinet decided that project is a project of national pride that MCC is launching. Of course, our friends from all over the world, different countries, are supporting us. As you mentioned that you were a Peace Corps volunteer in 60s. And Ilam, at that time, perhaps there was no motorable road. Perhaps you had to go by foot from Japa. Since then, our friends are supporting to cooperating, supporting, donating to Nepal for its improvement. And now the situation is completely different. When you were in Nepal at that time, the campaign was being launched by the US government to eradicate malaria in Tarai, in plain lands of Tarai. But now the situation is completely changed. The level of education, level of skills, and level of economy, and mostly the political situation and social environment in Nepal is completely changed. Before, if a foreigner appears somewhere in the market or in the district or in the village, people were coming to see them. But now the situation is not like that. So many foreigners are wandering here and there, and that is nothing new for the people of Nepal. And the political situation is very favorable because there is democracy, there is transparency, there is accountability, and the government is committed to develop economically, and for that, as I said, that we are concentrating our entire efforts, strength, and resources for economic development. For that, good governance is like prerequisite as we thinking. And we are trying to convince our friends to support us in this crucial juncture, in this important juncture, that if we proceed and take a speed, then we can go ahead. But now we are starting. So we have to gear up. In such a situation, we need assistance and cooperation. And as well as investment. And if there is anything, the investors know what type of environment we have to create for investment. What is their demand? We can talk to them, and we can try our best, or will, of course, create the situation, favorable situation.
My name is Yazin. I'm a freshman at Columbia College. Thank you very much for your speech. I was wondering, what advice would you give to world leaders to make the world safer and more unified?
Papa?
I was wondering what advice you would give to world leaders to make the world more safe and unified.
Oh, thank you. It's a very interesting question. I didn't have ready-made answer, but I think the leaders should discuss, talk, and find a solution.
My name is Prikuti. I'm from Nepal, and I'm a journalism student here at the Graduate School of Journalism. First of all, I would like to congratulate your government for holding the third phase of elections. My question is, how does your government look forward to resolving the crisis in Madhes that's been going on for over 2 years since the new constitution was promulgated? And also, since you talked a lot about good governance, how do you defend the largest cabinet that you have right now in Nepal, in the Nepal politics?
First of all, I would like to answer about the cabinet members, According to the constitution, 10% of its total number can become ministers. Therefore, 60 minister is the 600 number of the National Assembly. 60 number of the cabinet is according to the constitution, but still a smaller number, Regarding your question about issue of Madhes, we have entered into dialogue. We try to accommodate their some of the legitimate demand by amending the constitution, but unfortunately we couldn't pass the amendment because we need 2/3 of majority to pass the constitution. Therefore, we couldn't pass the constitution. Accordingly, we tried to accommodate their some of the demands, but I think they realized, and therefore they participated in the local election. I think they also understand the position right now. In future, Nepal's constitution is very much flexible. It can be reformed according to the wishes of the people.
Thank you, Prime Minister. My name is Jean Nguyen, Vietnamese Americans. Would you kindly share with us the secret of the communist parties in Nepal? How did your communist parties have so many different parts of communist parties in it? And how did you work so well to be so successful compared to many other communist nations in the world? And I admire you, and I wish you all the best. There was a saying that people should call your country a social democratic society rather than a communist party. Would you agree to that?
There's two good, sharp questions for you, Prime Minister.
Thank you very much. In my opinion, if there was no solar system, then the meaning of universe would be nothing. If there was no earth and solar system, the solar system would be meaningless. If there was no life in the earth would not be perhaps meaningless. And among them, human being and the human brain is the most important thing in my opinion. But we diverted a little bit, sometimes giving unnecessarily importance to our interest and selfishness. So we knew to make differences and quarrel, but forgot to work together and live together. So we have started a new campaign. Let's work together, live together. Listen others, And if there are differences, okay, there are different heads, different minds, there may be differences too. So we can tolerate those, and tolerance, coexistence. And our country is a country of diversity from highest peak of the world, and within a very short distance of about 200 kilometers, there is low land just a few meters above the sea. In such a situation, we have social and other diversities also, biodiversities, and so many diversities. So our country is the country of diversity, and the diversity teaches us to live together. We have mountains. If there were no mountains, then there would be no life. No rivers without mountains. No fountains, no streams. And if no rivers, no stream, no water, no ice, then there would be no life. So we knew mountains are high and the plains are low, but they are interrelated. So I think that we have to tolerate each other, listen each other, respect each other, work each other, and live together. This is particularly my principle, so that I tried my best to bring together all the diverse opinions and interests in one place. Common opinion for the nation, for the people, and for the human beings, for the betterment of, for the nation, for the people, and for the human beings.
I have a question for you. As the leader of a country who went through a natural disaster a few years ago, what is some advice you have for international organizations or the international world community regarding responses to natural disasters happening right now?
Yes, thank you very much for your concern about natural disaster, because Nepal has witnessed a devastating earthquake recently. Unfortunately, still a few months ago, we had a devastating flood in the southern part of Nepal. But regarding earthquake, it is not easy to find a solution. You know, nobody knows when it happens. We have to have a preparedness. Therefore, Nepal is very much aware of the earthquake, and we can cope earthquake in the future, because preparedness is necessary. Therefore, now we can whatever the disaster there, we are prepared. We can mitigate the disaster. You know, whatever the but regarding the flood, it's an inundation. Therefore, we have to have some plan so that in future this kind of cannot happen in future, because of the inundation in the southern part of Nepal and the flood. There are many opinions about the why floods, why this kind of disaster occurs. Therefore, we have to have some long-term policy so that inundation cannot happen. At the same time, flood can be mitigated by having by building a storage in the hill areas, so that during the monsoon, water can be controlled, and during the dry season, water can be flowed to have irrigation as well. And it's, other things, Nepal cannot cope with the climate change, unfortunately. Nowadays, greenhouse effect is there. Nepal alone cannot cope with this problem. The world as a whole, and United Nations and your university can create a international opinion so that the greenhouse emissions can be controlled.